Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
Now, grief is something that more often than not, a lot of us really don't know what to say when we're around somebody who's grieving. Welcome to Make It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. We're going to be talking with Barbara Legere. She's an author of the book Kevin's Choice, and we're going to talk about what to say and what not to say to a grieving parent. Now, Barbara, welcome.
Thank you.
For those who might have missed the last episode and have no idea what your book is about, just briefly tell us what your book is about. Then we'll get into the conversation.
Kevin's Choice is the story of my son and my life as his mom, standing beside him through mental illness, addiction, and ultimately suicide. So I try to share his story to let other people know what it's like for someone like him and for someone like me. And yeah, that's the point of it.
Okay. Which then gives us a context. So you are speaking from your personal experience. So let's start first with what not to say. What are some of the things you think people should not say to a grieving parent?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I wish I had my notes with me. One thing that people say all the time, and it's perfectly fine to say, is I'm sorry for your loss. I say that. But there are some people that don't like that. They think of it as an apology. They think when you're saying I'm sorry for your loss, it's an apology. That word has two meanings, so it's completely fine to say that, but I point that out just because I've had a couple of people get really upset about someone saying that to them.
Okay.
One thing that people often say and do is, what can I do to help you? And that is also very loving, kind thing to do. But instead of saying, what can I do? Come up with a list of things, which I have in my new book, a list of things you can say to offer them, because right after grief, you can't even think what you need. You don't even know what you need. You may have a hard time asking someone, even though they said you could. It's so much easier for someone to say, can I bring you a meal? Or can I drop something off at the pharmacy for you, or pick something up? And just come up with a list of things that people might have to have done and they are just not up to it.
True. I know you're doing it both at the same time, and that's fine. What to say, what not to say. So you're doing both at the same time. So
yes, I'm doing both at the same time. Sorry.
That's fine. Continue.
That's the way I think of them in my mind.
Okay, not a problem.
There's a whole group of things that don't offer a lot of comfort right after you lose someone, and that is, God needed him more than you. He's an angel now. He's no longer suffering. He was supposed to die at this age. A lot of things that have to do with being an angel or being better off. And even if that may be true, because in my son's case, his suffering did end after he passed, it's not something a grieving person really wants to hear. It doesn't offer comfort. What we want to hear is compassion and empathy. We don't want sympathy. We don't want someone to try to fix it or say something to try to make it better for us. We just want them to know. We want them to know how much it hurts. That brings me to another thing to do, is to ask the person if they want to talk about their lost person. I love talking about my son. People are afraid to approach me because they think it will remind me of him and make me sad. But in reality, I never stop thinking about him. He's on my mind 24 hours a day. And I love talking about him. In the beginning, I might have cried while I talked about him because it was so raw and new. But I think most of the people I know, we want to talk about them. We want to keep their memories alive. And at the upcoming holidays, especially if it's the first year of a loss, it's glaringly obvious to the person the closest to that person. If the dad's no longer there, the daughter, the spouse, someone is missing. I highly recommend that you acknowledge that person, maybe even set a place for them if you have room. And be sure to bring up that you miss them, and say something like, oh, if he was here, he'd be eating all the cranberry sauce, or something light, some fun memory of the person. Because for me, my family did not do that. And I was so hurt and so sad that they acted like he never existed.
Wow.
And it just really broke my heart. But I decided, I don't know any better. I need to tell them. So I told them, can we please talk about Kevin every time we're together? And now if they forget, I just bring it up, because I think most of us do want to keep sharing about our child or loved one.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I lost my mom, well, just over a year ago now, and I know what you mean, because one of the things that my brother and I will do sometimes, that we'll just talk about the things we remember about her, and it helps to keep her memory alive. So I can totally relate to what you're saying. It helps with the grieving process.
Yes, and those good memories are all we have left.
Yes,
and they can be very comforting, to remember the good times.
Yes. You even though the focus is on what to say and what not to say, don't you think though sometimes, even from your own experience, Barbara, that sometimes people should not say anything?
Yes, it depends. It depends on the person and the situation.
Okay.
For me, if somebody avoids saying it and I know that they know that I just lost my son, I feel hurt. But I know it's very uncomfortable to say, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, is perfectly fine to say. And to ask someone how they're doing, that's fine too. If you're ready for the honest truth. Usually people in deep grief will put on a happy face or say, I'm fine, I'm doing okay. And if you care about that person and are close to them, say, please tell me how you're really feeling. Do you need to cry? Do you need to talk? Whatever you need, I'll just sit here with you. We can just sit and not talk. We can just watch the birds in the backyard or whatever.
Grief is something that really should not be taken lightly, and you should really be mindful of what is said to somebody when they're grieving. We're gonna delve some more into that, but right after we take a break and get a word from our partners.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
I recently have been coached by the great Miss Noreen Daly. I own a video company. I'm also an online influencer. So I do a lot of speaking virtually and in person. She was able to point out some of my weaknesses that I didn't yet notice. And I 100% recommend Miss Noreen Daly as your coach.
Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics, or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Photography is an art. But more so, photography must come from the heart. Precious moments, priceless times. Take a pic and know it will turn out fine.
BMC Photography JA. Beautiful moments captured. Let's go.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
If you're one of those persons who we might be in a habit of saying God knows best when somebody's grieving, stop it. It is something that can be painful to the person who's grieving. We're going to get some more pointers from Barbara as she shares from her own experiences. Welcome back. I think sometimes when people, especially when it's quite raw, people feel compelled that they must say something. And I think sometimes it's best if they just sit and just be.
You're right. Absolutely. Just to have someone there, it really helps.
Yeah. Based on your experience also, if it is that somebody's saying, you know, I'm listening, ladies, and I'm hearing all of what you're saying, but sometimes I just not sure whether to speak or not to speak, what would be your advice for that person?
My advice would be to take the chance to say something.
Okay.
If you can recognize, if you're saying it face to face, you can recognize if you probably shouldn't have, and then you can just back that off. But I really think most people want it acknowledged, because your life completely can change in a moment when you lose the most special person in your life. If it's your mom, your husband, whatever.
That is true.
And you change. It's like you almost think everything in the universe has changed now because he's not here anymore, or she's not here anymore. So to have someone acknowledge that you're going through that, for me, is very comforting.
Yeah, it is. It is. What above of everything that you said, if you had to just really sum it up or kind of condense it, what would be the things that you think people should definitely not say right across the board, and some of the things that people definitely should say? Because you said a lot, but if you had to just say, of all of what I've just shared, these are the things you must say, these are things you must definitely not say to somebody who's grieving, especially a parent.
I would say the things that you should say are acknowledging the loss by saying, I'm sorry for your loss, or I heard that you lost your son and I am just so sorry. Acknowledging it in some way, sending a card, a text. If you can't see the person face to face, acknowledging it is the number one thing. To offer specific things to help in the beginning. There's like a whole list of crazy things you got to get done for a funeral or a memorial service.
That's true.
Just to say, I'd really like to help you with this. Can I help? What can I help you with? Or can I do the specific thing? That was very helpful to me. I had someone that took care of all that for me.
Nice.
Acknowledgement, offering to help, and letting them know that you are there for them, but not just saying it, because it's so easy to say, I'm here for you, and then expect them to call when they need you, but they're not going to. You need to keep calling them back and text to them every 2 weeks or so. Just say, I'm thinking of you. How are you doing? And please tell me how you're really doing, because I care. And I think that goes a long ways. Offering to sit with them, offering just to take a walk or go to coffee. They may not be up to it, so don't take it personally if they say no, but they do know that there's somebody out here that cares about me and is willing to sit with me when I'm going through something this horrible. And that's really touching.
And what should they definitely not say with all that we say? This is something you just do not say.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a list of 100 things that I've heard people say that are, I won't read them now, obviously, but people say some very insensitive things and they don't realize it. I would avoid anything about angels, heaven, prayer, God's will.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or whatever your beliefs are. It's not comforting to me and a lot of people I know
Mhm.
to hear that, oh, well, God needed another angel, or now you have an angel watching over you. I want my son. I don't want an angel. It's just, it's like, it's just not very helpful. Another thing to not say would be anything that tries to, let me see something here, tries to fix the loss by justifying it in some way.
Okay.
Well, he was very sick, at least now he's not suffering, or she was old, or one that people say is, well, you're still young, you can find another spouse, or you're still young, you can have more children. I mean, those are really no-nos because it's like saying your person didn't matter. You just
Yes.
move on.
Yes.
And that really
Yes.
hurts and
Yeah.
can cause anger even.
Yes. But I know this could not have been an easy conversation for you. So I appreciate you taking the time to share from your own experience. And it is my hope that somebody will listen and somebody will watch this and they will learn a lot from just your experiences. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you, Noreen. All your podcasts are great. I've been listening to them and I hope your audience has too, because there's always something interesting there.
Thank you. This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.